There are more millionaires in the United States than there are guys with six pack abs. And the reason for that is most guys over 30, on average, gain about 2 to 5 pounds of body fat per year after the age of 30. So by the time you hit your 40s, 50s, and beyond, you could be looking at being 50, 60, 70 pounds overweight, wondering how the heck did I get here? So in today's video, I'm giving you the complete system for getting shredded this year. As the summertime approaches and we start to think about warm weather, less clothing, and the time we're going to be at the beach, pool, lake, or wherever you spend your time, that little bit of an anxiety around, oh my gosh, I'm not in shape yet, starts to creep in. Maybe you start to think, oh, I should have started January 1st. Well, I promise you, if you watch today's video, you're going to have not only a crystal clear roadmap, like I'm not holding anything back. I'm not even throwing crazy edits in this video. I'm just telling you what to do exactly. You'll have that roadmap, but you'll also be able to start getting results today. All right, if you start implementing this stuff right now. So let's just jump into the first thing. Let's jump into expectations. What should be the expectations in terms of getting shredded? Like, how long is it going to take? Well, number one, and I know guys, are always wondering, like, is the juice going to be worth the squeeze? Am I actually going to get there? After having worked with over, at this point, 8,000 paying customers and clients over the past 20 years who have either worked with me in a coaching setting, worked with one of my coaches, bought a program, bought a workshop, whatever, over 8,000 customers. What I can tell you on average is most guys lose about 1% of their body fat per week. Okay. Assuming, of course, you're following what I tell you to do. Are there times where things move faster? Yes. Are there times where things move slower? Yes. I haven't really seen anybody who's been super diligent lose less than half a percentage of body fat per week. I can't remember a case study where someone's literally done all the work and lost less than half a percentage of body fat. This is guys. Women lose things a little bit slower, just so you know. So if you're sharing this video, with your spouse or you're a female watching this, I would cut these in half. And it's not because you're not good at losing fat. It's just typically women weigh a lot less. Anyway, so that's the expectation. So here's a really good tip to start with. Number one is go get your data done. Go get your data checked. DEXA scan is number one in knowing where you are body fat percentage wise. I don't care what your body fat percentage is, like in terms of like, oh my gosh, you're not at 10% yet. If you look good. All right, because ultimately the mirror is the most important factor, but getting a DEXA scan done before you attempt a summer shred or a shred any time of year is a good idea. So that way you can pull it up and say, okay, it says here I'm 29% body fat. Most guys are going to start to see their abs somewhere around 14 to 12% body fat. Okay, so in your head, you can say, all right, I got to lose about 15% of my body. Like I got to get down 15%. So that's going to take anywhere from 15 weeks on the normal range. Slower range could be 30 weeks. And then we take the average of that. Okay. So somewhere in the 20-week range to get down to abs. Now, could you get there faster with some of the tips, as I, go through this video that I'm going to share with you? Potentially, yes. So let's just start to build it out, right? We have expectations. And here's a mindset piece for you. Do not stress the timeline. Focus on today. How can we check the box today? All right. Which we're going to share with the boxes right now. So we got the DEXA scan done. Great. Take progress pictures every month at a bare minimum. I have our clients take them every 3 to 4 weeks. But listen, we want to make sure we're tracking how we look. The other metric you can track is measurements. So you can measure your biceps, your waist, your chest, your thighs. And every 4 weeks, you can take those measurements again, and you'll have a really good idea of where you are, all right, in terms of how your body's changing. So the DEXA scan, getting done in the beginning, take measurements, take progress pictures. And then in terms of measuring scale weight, I would say wake up first thing in the morning every day and take your weight, plug it into like our app that we use for our coaching clients, or just write it down in your notes and start to track weekly averages. So take, 7 days at a time, add them up, divide it by 7, do that again the next week and start to compare averages. You'll see that number move down as time goes on. Losing 2 to 3 pounds per week is probably unrealistic, But losing, 1 to 2 pounds per week consistently is a really good target for most guys that we work with. Okay. So let's build the checklist. Well, the first thing we got to do is build the foundation. Number one, and this just has to get done, is we got to commit to a movement-based lifestyle. All right. I say this 1,000 times and I'll say it again. And in fact, it's the first thing inside of our over 30 shredded checklist. All right. This is a 1-page document. I will give it to you for free. If you comment the word shred, I will send you a link to our free coaching group, and I will literally personally send you the shred document. We have a post in that group that says, do you want a copy of the over 30 shred document? It's a 1-page document. It's just checklist. Just check the box. These are the things I got to do. Boom, 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 done. With some really cool advanced stuff that most people don't talk about that gets you there faster. If you want the checklist, comment the word shred on this video and I will send you a link. All right. But one of the first things on that checklist, like you got to get it done, is movement. Got to get it done. All right. Movement, meaning we got to walk more. Now, there's some advanced tactics in terms of how we walk, the strategies we deploy. But from a baseline perspective, we got to move 10,000 steps minimum per day. But ultimately, we probably need to be closer to 12,000 steps as we get deeper into things. This might not be where you start though, right? So if you start tracking your steps today and you're like, man, I'm only hitting 5,000. Josiah wants me to double that. That's crazy. Like there's no way I'm going to be able to do that. Let me share what we do with our clients. So where things can be a little bit more interesting, a little more detailed for you. We don't immediately jump you to 10,000. Some clients do, but most clients, we just increase by 10%. All right. So we say, all right, you're at 5,000. We got to hit 5,500 this week. Great. Do that for a week. Then we're bumping it up another 10%. All right. Let's hit 6,000. And pretty soon, what ends up happening for most people is they realize I can do a lot more than I think. And the step count starts to increase pretty dramatically. Now, there is a place where the juice just isn't worth the squeeze anymore. I don't want you walking constantly throughout the day. I don't want your whole life to just be moving, right? Unless that fits your lifestyle. But for most people, it doesn't. We do need some time to be focused, present, sitting at the computer, with people. Like, I don't need you moving constantly. But there are some really cool strategies that we deploy. For example, we have our clients, if they're meeting someone in person, suggest that you do a walk and talk. Okay, so instead of sitting at Starbucks like, oh, I'm just going to talk, sitting here all day, go outside and walk if it's nice. Talk while you walk. Okay, you can deploy strategies like this to get movement in strategically throughout your day. The other thing is get your kids, man. Your kids are like your number one fat loss asset. Tell them, dad or mom or whoever, we're right. I'm going to go play outside with you. Let's go play some basketball. Let's go throw the football around. Let's go run around. Let's go play tag in the park. Little do they know, they're helping you get your steps. I'm telling you, this stuff like this is what changes the game. Now, we're going to talk about a lot of other stuff, but we got to get the movement strategy completely dialed in. All right. If we don't do that, man, we are like absolutely building a fat loss house on sand, if you will. Okay. On sand. And we don't want to do that, right? We want to build our fat loss plan on solid foundational principles. So we got movement. Now, can we increase the intensity of the movement? For sure. We can do things like wear a weight vest during your morning walk. You can walk on an incline treadmill. All right. You could even use the step mill for some of your steps if you want to increase the calorie burn during a certain portion of your steps. But ultimately, what is going to really move the needle the most? Hit your steps consistently. I can't stress this enough, guys. Like, we help our clients inside of our program build out lifestyle-friendly protocols that help them hit their movement goals. If you want to learn more about the program, you can check out the description below or the first comment. I'll put it there. If you want a copy of our Shredded Over 30 checklist, which I have a whole boatload of stuff that's a 1-page document, super easy to follow, just comment the word shred. All right. And I'll send you a link to our group. Now, let's talk about the next pillar as we build out our Get Shredded for Summer or Get Shredded Over 30, whatever you're calling it right now, your checklist. So we have our daily movement. Okay. We got to hit our daily steps. This is where we're going to start. The second thing we're going to do is we're going to install a training system, all right, to get you diced, to get you really, really ripped. Now, most people, when they start losing weight, they think I have to do more. I'm going to tell you something that most fitness people don't tell you. I actually think, if anything, unless you have not been training at all, right? Because then one workout is going to be more than what you've been doing. What we don't want to do is try to do a boatload of exercises, a ton of time in the gym, tons of reps, tons of sets. We don't want to do that. It's going to stress you out. It's going to take too much time. You don't need that. What we actually need from a baseline is 3 workouts per week. I like push, pull, legs. It's a really good split. You could also do upper body, upper body, and then start with lower body the next week. You could also do upper body, lower body, full body. Now, if you wanted to train 4 days a week, how would you adjust? Well, you could do upper, lower, upper, lower. You could do push, pull, legs, full body. You could do, there's so many things. Like you could even do full body, full body, full body, full body, and just break it up, a way that a good coach could break it up for you. It's really personal preference. The whole idea here is we're trying to get stronger systematically over time. So we don't need a ton of volume. What we do need are exercises that hit our entire body. Okay, so we want a solid volume, or a solid balanced training program that hits all major body parts. And maybe with a little more emphasis on the body parts that you need more work on. Maybe your shoulders are lagging behind your chest development. Maybe your chest development's lagging behind. Maybe your back development is lagging behind. So maybe we hit those body parts twice a week. But we don't go crazy with the volume. We're not talking 6 exercises for chest or anything weird. Okay, we don't do that. Ideally, I want you in and out of the gym in under 45 minutes. If you can get in and out of the gym in 30 minutes, great. Okay, if you need an hour, fine. But past an hour, I would say it's probably too much. You don't need that much, all right? I like, at the beginning of a fat loss phase, to really dial in my strength. I want to build some strength early on in the fat loss phase while I still can, while I still have the energy, while my body is still feeling really, really good. Because as we get super shredded, our energy might come down just a tad. Our strength might plateau for a bit, okay? I haven't found that, with the right training program that you're going to see a noticeable drop in strength or muscle or anything like that. But we just may not have the fuel as time goes on to really crush personal best, really be getting crazy strong. So I like to get strong early on. And then at the very least, maintain that strength as time goes on. All right, as we get more and more dice, more and more shredded. So at the end of the day, what I like to have in place is a 3-day workout split with an optional 4th day. Some of our clients do best on 2 days a week with an optional 3rd day. Some do best with 4 days with an optional 5th day. This is where customization really comes into play. We also got to play around with what exercises feel the best, what will help you avoid injury, what's going to make you really excited to go to the gym. Like, we got to have a plan that you're bought into. All right, if you don't have that, man, get started right now by just downloading our checklist. Let me show you what a program looks like. I'll throw inside the checklist, I give you an example of some of this stuff. All right. That's our muscle pillar. We got to get that in place. So we have our movement. Great. We're starting to move more. We're starting to burn more calories. We have our muscle pillar. We're starting to build the physique. So as we shred, things look awesome. You look super jacked, super ripped, super impressive, but not overly big, right? Just like really athletic physique. Okay. The third piece, obviously, that I'm sure you're wondering, how do you set this up? Because I know it's coming, right? We got to clean up our nutrition. So let me run through some hacks, okay? Just from my experience, my understanding of things. Being overweight at one point in my life, I was 65 pounds overweight. Had to really battle through that. Had to figure this whole nutrition thing out. That was the one part I really struggled with, For a long time, I was binge eating. I would go crazy low calorie during the week, and then I would order a large pizza, mozzarella sticks, go buy a tub of ice cream, and I would crush it, feel sick, throw up, feel terrible about myself, and start the whole process over again. And that went on for a while. And then I uncovered the truth about nutrition and was able to actually build something that I could sustain. It took a while. It wasn't overnight. But nowadays, I've maintained, abs, visible abs for, long period of time now, probably at least 14 years in a row. There's been moments along the way where I've gained some body fat, sometimes on purpose to give myself a little bit of break and get stronger. Sometimes because I had injuries and I just wasn't training as well as I wanted to. But over that course of time, almost a decade and a half, I've helped over 7,000 guys do the same thing. So the nutrition principles I share with you are from those experiences and things that I know work and things that work extremely well even to this day. All right. And the first thing I'll say, if you're serious about getting shredded, is we got to control our alcohol. I know you don't want to hear that. I'm not telling you got to cut it out completely, but we got to control it. We got to be strategic with it. All right. So here's what I do. Let me just get right into it. Control my alcohol. So I commit typically to no more than 2 drinks a week when I'm super serious about getting shredded. Okay, cool. We got to control our calories. So the way I do it, and this might work for you, might not, I use fasting. I typically do a 24-hour fast at the beginning of the week. As time goes on, I might move that to 36 because a full day of fasting for me just shreds me up. And then the rest of the week, I'm controlling my food real seriously, right? So I actually have been doing this for so long, I don't have to track calories. But if I gave you a number, I'd say it's probably 10 times my current body weight is what I aim for. All right, because I'm already pretty lean. So that might be like 2,000 calories to 2,200 calories. That's pretty low. Keep in mind, I'm not trying to train for performance during this phase. I'm just giving my body the bare minimum to function mentally, be able to work out, move, take care of my kids, and then I'm burning probably 3,200 calories a day. So I'm in a 1,000 calorie a day deficit. It's pretty significant, meaning I'm probably losing 1.5 to 2 pounds of fat per week pretty consistently. And I'll be down to where I want to be within a month or two. You might want to be a little more conservative with your calories, meaning give yourself a little more, slow things down a little bit. But I use fasting because that one day of not eating or not eating very much, I might have one dinner, like a small meal at night just to keep me moving. That increases my calorie deficit massively. So instead of having 7 days of like just a small calorie deficit, I have 1 or 2 days of a big one and then a moderate one the rest of the time so that during the week, you get to the end of the week and you're like, wow, like I've made a huge dent in this fat loss game. All right. Now, in terms of carbs, because that's like, for some reason, that's still the first thing people worry about. It's like, what about my sugar? What about my carbs? Should I keep it in? Should I not? Like, what should I do? And my answer is, look, I'm not going to lie to you here. I like to just be very transparent. I notice when I cut out carbs, because I still do occasionally for just to test things, just to see how I feel. What I notice is that my body loses a lot of water weight, and that actually makes me look leaner. So carbs hold water inside the body, glycogen, water, that's all stored in the muscle. So when you cut out carbs, your bodies will typically lose some water weight. And sometimes that could be water between the skin and the muscle too. So you look tighter. It's not to say you're losing body fat faster. It's just you might feel more motivated. You might feel more disciplined. You might be like, oh my gosh, this is finally working. Low carb is the way to go, right? For some people, going low carb for temporary periods of time also helps them control their appetite, like way better. Okay. So you might not have that insulin response or that crash that you experience with sugar that that you normally are accustomed to. So your appetite's just more under control. In fact, in some cases, it goes away completely. And you're like, man, I can just stick to this protein and fat only diet and I'm sticking with my calorie deficit. Thus, fat loss occurs. For me, I know if I go too long without any carbs, I start to feel pretty crappy. All right. So what I do is strategically at certain periods when I'm like, I'm going to push through this little plateau here, I will cut out carbs and just eat protein and fat for a couple days. And then I'm like, boom, I look tighter, leaner, and I'll introduce carbs strategically. Usually it's at my dinner because I'm going to wake up the next day and train. So I want to have some glycogen that gets digested overnight, gets ready to train, used for training the next day. I might have some fruit because liver glycogen, which is what fruit replenishes, is really important in just feeling good. Okay, so I always keep some fruit in my diet. And yes, fruit has sugar. It's the good sugar. It's called fructose. It's really good for you. As time goes on, like as I'm really getting diced, okay, I'll train mid-morning. I know I'm blessed to be able to do that. I don't train crazy early, but I train, mid-morning. And then I'll have carbs as in part of my first meal to just replenish what I burned during the workout. And then I'll keep things moderate to low carb the rest of the day. Most days though, like just normal days, I'll have carbs at every meal. And I don't eat a lot of meals. For me, I typically eat a main meal at dinner time, and then I'll have a small lunch, a mid-afternoon protein bar, and a small protein-based dessert at night. Okay, something like rice cakes with a little whipped cream and a protein shake. All right. Or I'll have like Greek yogurt with some fruit at night. That's really, really the simple approach that I use in terms of meals. And what I can tell you though, okay, and after having helped at this point, so many guys get abs for the first time. or get abs after being overweight for 20, 30 plus years. What I can tell you is that it's always more simple than we want to make it. Okay. We love to overcomplicate getting shredded, but the only factor that people I think really struggle with over time is time itself. They're just not willing to give it the time that it's going to take to get to the lean state that they're looking for. They want to be there in the next few weeks. They want to be there in 12 weeks when it might take 30. Right now I work with a professional baseball coach. He actually, I won't say what team, but he's one of the head coaches on a very prominent Major League Baseball team. And he's one of my best clients. Love working with the guy. And we got down to one of his lowest weights ever. He looks awesome, but he's not super shredded yet. And he told me, he said, I had a realization. It's just going to take longer. I'm doing all the right things. Like things are working, things are moving, but it's just going to take longer. Okay. And I said, dude, like, yes, you're 100% right. And that's one of the I say unfortunate things, but it's one of the things that is just, there's no way around it. If you're starting at a higher body fat percentage, it's just going to take longer to get shredded. That's all. Nothing to stress about. Just got to give it more time. And that might mean you take more breaks along the way. So let's talk about some hormones and peptides. One thing I'm a huge advocate of is making sure you're healthy hormonally. All right. So this means getting your full panel blood work done. Where are you from a hormone perspective? If you don't know this, if you're like, well, I feel like crap all the time, low energy, libido's down, like I just don't feel good, feel kind of depressed at times, could be a sign that your testosterone is low. And I'm not telling you to go jump on testosterone. What I'm telling you is this is data that you need to know. There's some ways you can get your hormones at least improved without having to take TRT. But if you don't know what you're dealing with, man, you're literally shooting in the dark. So get your hormonal health dialed in, okay? Or at least get on a path to getting it fixed. Doesn't mean it has to be fixed overnight, but just get on a path, all right? That's going to be a huge asset when it comes to burning fat. There are peptides out there that personally I think are going to be at the forefront of some cutting edge stuff. Once again, we're going in important order of importance here. We got the foundation: movement, muscle, meals. You got to get your calories and your protein and your overall nutrition strategy dialed in. Okay. I have a cheat sheet for guys over 30 who struggle because they have lack of time. They don't necessarily think they can do it because things feel complicated. I have a whole cheat sheet. Comment the word shred. I'll send it to you. Inside that cheat sheet, I have a next level game plan, meaning what are the next stages? Okay, I got the basics dialed in. Let's talk about hormones. How do I get that fixed? Okay, here's the checklist. Boom. Here's the things I need to do. Blood work. Great. What happens if my blood work's off? Okay, talk to a professional hormonal specialist. Great. Dude, checklist done. Get that done, then we move into peptides. So don't jump into peptides first thinking, oh, everyone's taking Ozempic. Well, Ozempic, in my opinion, is not great, and it's not healthy long-term, in my opinion. But why would you jump into that without all the stuff that's going to actually benefit from Ozempic in place, right? It's like buying brand new tires and you don't even have a car. Makes no sense, right? It's getting a new roof for your home and you don't even have the home. It's like, well, that's cool, but that's not going to fix the bigger issue here. We got the big issue fixed first. Internal health dialed in, hormones, wellness, your thyroid, like vitamins, minerals, all that's great. Cool. Cholesterol, boom. Let's get that on the right path. Then we can talk about some advanced tactics like peptides. Okay. And there's some even more cool stuff like, I'll give you an example. I think metformin, which is a medicine, okay, that's used for insulin stability and whatnot, could in fact enhance fat loss if all the other things are dialed in. In my experience, this has worked, okay? Now, let's talk about other things you can add. Retatrutide, also a great peptide. It does have some appetite control benefits. It also has some fat burning benefits, things that I've seen work really, really well. Tesamorelin, okay, also a peptide that can help target visceral fat. Okay, a visceral fat in excess is not good. Everyone's got some visceral fat. All right, tesamorelin's another one. What else? Ipamorelin, I think, is another one that I would probably say could be a part of a therapeutic peptide fat burning stack. Okay. But yeah, so peptides could be the next frontier for some of you. And, I'm not here to tell you that peptides are, necessarily magical. In some cases, they could feel really, really magical if you've kind of been pushing up against a plateau and you've reached a point where you're just like, I'm just not seeing progress anymore. They could, help you blast through that. Okay. There's other stuff too, like extended fasting. I've seen work tremendously well. So going past that 24-hour mark, 36, 48 hours. Yeah, there's a lot of exciting stuff. That's all I'm going to tell you. All right. But I think there's some stuff that can really, really work. Let's see. What else do I have on the list here? I think, at the end of the day, supplementation, there's some supplements out there just for general overall wellness that I think would fit well into a get shredded plan, like whey protein. Creatine is great. Huge, huge, huge. I would say keep creatine a part of the game plan. Also, water intake. I didn't even mention water intake, but this is one that I'll add in here at the very least here. I would say 3 to 4 liters of water a day for most guys is going to cover your base. I hate throwing a general recommendation out for water because some people sweat more, some people are in different climates, but I think most guys are chronically dehydrated. So, or chronically underhydrated, maybe not dehydrated, but chronically underhydrated. All right. So this is a great starting plan to get diced for the summer. All right. Now, I know there's more, right? I don't want to tell you I'll leave you with some mindset and strategy thoughts. Okay. I think that the number one lie that a lot of you are being told is that you're too old to do this. Heck, even guys in their 30s are like, man, I'm past my prime. I'm not my teens or my 20s. Most of our clients, late 30s, 40s, 50s, those are the guys I work with. And I'll tell you right now, because of the emotional maturity that a lot of them have gained over the years, we're able to pivot on that mindset stuff rather quickly, where you'll realize you're nowhere near past your prime, right? You might actually be just entering your prime. I have a lot of guys who got jacked at 50 and ripped at 50 because they're doing all the things I just said. And they're like, holy crap, I'm just starting life right now. Okay. So we have to adopt the CEO of our fitness mindset. We're trying to squeeze the juice out of a minimalist approach. That is the goal. Do not think you have to live and breathe fitness 24/7, 365. That is not the case. Anyone who tells you that is setting you up for failure, and you should walk the other way. What you need to do is get the basics, the checklist. Check the box. CTB, check the boxes. All right. Movement, muscle, meals. Then we sprinkle on some of the crazy cool stuff. But at the end of the day, we need to set a physique North Star. What are you aiming to look like? Because the fact of the matter is, you're doing this for you first and foremost. I know people want to say, I'm doing this for my family. I'm doing this for my wife. I'm doing this for my kids. Yes, they are going to benefit tremendously from you getting in shape. Why? Well, I'll tell you why. Because you're going to feel good about yourself. You're going to feel good about yourself again. You're going to have energy again. You're going to wake up going, all right, I feel a little better today. The gym, it's my safe place. It's my anchor in my day. It's my stress reliever. I like how my biceps are looking. I like how my abs are looking. I like how my back and my shoulders are looking. Man, I feel good about myself again. So what is the effect from that? Well, the effect from that is your people, your kids, your wife, your friends, your family, they're going to start to get the better version of you, the best version of you. Who shows up? Your wife's going to get laid from a guy she actually wants to get laid from again. Your kids are going to play with a guy who has the energy again that you once had. Heck, if you're a lady watching this, your man's going to be like, wow, your butt's looking nice. Your stomach's looking nice, right? And that's going to make you feel good. And they're going to feel good because you're showing up and being present again instead of being stressed, down, depressed, all that stuff, all right? All right, so now check this out. I put together another video. I'll put it here. This is your next one you should go watch. This will give you next steps. But hey, don't forget, I have an over 30 shredded checklist. If you comment the word shred, I'll send it to you. It's for guys who are time poor, don't have a lot of time, who are spread thin, don't have the flexibility and freedom that, a 20-something has with no kids, no family, no responsibilities outside of work. Knock that out. Go comment the word shred on this, and I'll send you a link to join our coaching program that's actually full of trainings like this. plus this guide. So you get hands-on access right away, and you can start making progress today and getting closer one step at a time to the goals that you have of getting that physique you're proud of. That, my friends, is your next step. Go make that happen right now. Do not wait. Comment the word shred. If you're interested in our actual true transformation coaching program and community for time poor professionals who are driven to be great, but just don't have the body to match the success they've had in other parts of their life, well, you'll get added to that if you comment the word shred. I'll make sure you get to be a part of that group, that special community that is winning every single day. It's going to raise you up from feeling like crap, feeling down, feeling depressed, feeling frustrated, feeling just run down and stressed out. Let's get you out of that funk right now and build you up today. All right, my friends, those are your next steps. Comment the word shred, go watch this video, and I will see you on that video. Talk then. Peace.